Chapter 1575. How could they have imagined that Black Hawk would dare to attack them? After all, he was just a child, and they were all adults. However, the Black Hawk really made his move. After a few punches, they hurriedly went up to fight. Black Hawk alone would not be able to defeat so many of them. He was hit a few times, but he knew that he couldn't let them have a good time. Even if he was hit, he didn't forget to hurt them. As the saying goes, the barefooted are not afraid of those who wear shoes. If he was not afraid of being beaten, then who could do anything to him? A few thieves followed behind and exclaimed in admiration. She only felt that this child was crazy to sacrifice his life for 1,000 yuan. However, Black Hawk did not do it for the $1,000. He just did not want to be bullied like this anymore. The result of being weak would only be more bullying. He just wanted to stand up. Moreover, $1,000 was just $1,000 to them, but for Black Hawk, it was enough to sustain his life. Behind them, the people from the construction site outside saw it and rushed in. Those people were just relying on the fact that they had more people on their side. In fact, they were also very cowardly. Bullying the weak and fearing the strong was probably their style. Therefore, at this moment, they looked extremely terrified. They were surprised to find that the Black Hawk had beaten the thieves to the ground. His face was bruised and swollen, but he still stood there firmly, looking at them. Behind them, several people were brought out. He was also taken out. When he was dressing his wounds in the infirmary, the doctor kept saying, "You've been hit so many times, doesn't it hurt?" Black Hawk shook his head. What's worse than physical pain is not being able to live. I don't feel pain. At this moment, the owner of the construction site arrived. At first, he didn't really believe that a teenager could beat up those notorious men who had been imprisoned in the police station. Because those people had been in prison, many people avoided them. However, he didn't do that. On the contrary, he beat them up badly. Thus, he faced the Black Hawk and asked, "What's your name?" "Mo Jinyan." "Well, you can't do it here anymore." "Boss, are you going to fire me?" "No." The boss looked at him. "Go to my car wash. Train there. You're still young. Fighting isn't a serious thing. You still have a lot to learn." Just like that, he won the boss's appreciation. Later on, he had always respected this boss. Because of this, Black Hawk was the first to help him expand his car wash business after gaining power. Now in a country, he was considered the leader of the industry. Now, because of his old age, he began to retire. In retrospect, he felt that the wisest decision he had ever made in his life was to take a liking to this child. He felt that he was a person with endurance, so he secretly helped him. Although it was just a matter of raising his hand, for this child, it gave him another support to continue living. And this child was more capable than he had imagined. From a hooligan in his teens who wandered the streets, in the end, he actually became a mafia boss that the whole world feared. Before Mu Firen's show was broadcast, she had already started filming for the second episode. Because in the last episode, Zhang Tianming felt that Mu Firen, who was not suitable to develop in the variety show, was a great threat to him. He didn't expect Mu Firen to do so well. The director kept praising her, and those who had secretly watched the editing also said that she had a lot of scenes. It seemed that she would no longer be the most popular in this show. Of course, she was unhappy, so she quickly contacted the company and started to think of a solution. The people from the company said, "That's easy. Give her some black marks." The production team doesn't know if her black marks are real or not, so they won't dare to film her in this episode. If it's real, it will be a problem to edit it out. That's good, but what black marks can she have? Her previous man is called Mo Ding. He used to be a very powerful boss in the industry. He married her and divorced her. She's still taking care of their child. What kind of black mark is that? Let's just say that she married Mo Ding when she was pregnant, but because Mo Ding didn't want to be a father, he divorced her. Now that Mo Ding has a second wife, and it's said that she's from a good family, he won't answer these questions. Zhang Tianming smiled and said immediately, very good. Then hurry up and publish it. The show is about to start filming soon. They did as they had said. The next day, when the production team was still in a meeting, someone said, "Oh no, there's news about Mu Firen on the internet. I don't know if it's real or not." They looked on the internet and saw someone vividly describing Mu Firen's past. There were also some photos of Mu Firen getting married and having a child. There was evidence that she was no longer with Mo Ding. There was also evidence that Mu Firen was taking care of her child. When the production team saw it, they couldn't tell if it was real or not. Is this true or not? I remember saying it once before. It's like mentioning it again. But there's no smoke out of a hole. Let's see how Mu Firen responds. I think it's just come out. Mu Firen probably doesn't have any news yet. Will they respond? Some people just ignore these kinds of things, said Yi Zichen. But look, there are so many people. If she doesn't respond, the internet water army won't stop. That's not good. The audience will only believe these one-sided words and make it seem like there's a lot of evidence. Below. Mu Firen's company naturally knew about it. She worked under Lin Che's company, but the company also arranged for her to work in her personal studio. The studio was suddenly in chaos. Damn, what's going on? Why did such a piece of news come out? Is it not enough to say that we're toxic in the box office? What should we do now? Sister Firen doesn't know whether it's real or not. Are we going to ask Sister Firen directly? Whether it's real or not, we have to treat it as fake. Otherwise, if it's really like this, how could she clear her name? Even if no one mentioned it in the future, people would first think of being a father when they saw her. At this time, Mu Firen came in from outside. Seeing everyone talking about it with a sad face, Mu Firen smiled. What's wrong? Sister Firen, they looked at her and didn't know what to say. Mu Firen said, all right, don't look so sad. I saw it all. Sister Firen, now I have to say that these tricks haven't changed after so many years. But she's still a newcomer, but I'm not. Everyone saw Mu Firen sit down calmly, cross her legs, and raise her eyebrows lightly. She looked as if everything was under her control and everything was under control. That look made people feel inexplicably at ease. Chapter 1576. Sister Firen, what should we do now? Mu Firen said, don't reply yet. Let's see if they really have something to release. Oh, okay. Is it really okay not to reply? A lot of netizens have started to scold us. Don't worry. The reversal of the slap will make people angry. Then, they will hate the slanderer even more. Mu Firen said with a smile, the more they scold me now, the more they will hate them in the future. Realization dawned on them when they heard that. Looking at Mu Firen, they felt that they were too short-sighted. They didn't even deserve to be Mu Firen's agent. Meanwhile, outside, the incident was developing very quickly. Then, the other party said that Mu Firen was backed by a sugar daddy and that she had climbed into the bed of her company's boss at the beginning. Later, she climbed into the bed of someone else. All of these started to tell the story instead of slandering her with some small stories as if they had evidence. Mu Firen wanted to laugh, but seeing that there were many people below, she believed them. That was how people found it funny. It was as if they felt that it was true after reading other people's stories. As for whether the evidence was real or fake, if you looked at it from another angle, it would be a different story. Whether what they said was right or wrong, they would not be able to judge. They would only start typing on their keyboards after seeing it and express their dissatisfaction. There's no good person in the industry. Female artists. Don't they all sleep with them? Many people know that Mu Firen put on a woman's hat for her husband, but she hasn't mentioned it for a long time. So, there's a reason why Mu Firen is poison in the box office. She's very close to the side of the reality show this time. Look at the poster, she's standing outside. She's such a senior, but she's going to the reality show to make money. She's really not doing well. Zhang Tianming was very satisfied with the effect. Soon, it was the day of the reality show shooting. The film crew looked at Mu Firen, feeling a little embarrassed. They had been told to focus on the other people in this episode and not to waste too much time on Mu Firen, in case they couldn't cut a few scenes. Rui Shui, who had been sticking to Mu Firen all the time in the last episode, started to be cautious and indecisive in this episode. She looked at Mu Firen and felt that it was a pity, but she didn't dare to get too close. Seeing this, Zhang Tianming sneered. He walked over to Mu Firen and said, "Sister Firen, we've heard about the recent scandals. It's really annoying for someone to bring up those old stories." Mu Firen was speechless. Mu Firen looked at Zhang Tianming and said, "Tianming, I think you don't have to act so well. It's obvious who did this. You'd better practice a little more before you play with me." Zhang Tianming looked at Mu Firen. Zhang Tianming's expression changed. "What are you talking about, Sister Firen? Since you've already started to oppose me, then I'll take the trouble to teach you a lesson this time. I'll let you know what it means to be older and wiser." The people at the back had not expected Mu Firen's aura to be so stunning all of a sudden. Rui Shui, who had been hiding, widened her eyes. Zhang Tianming's eyes moved. She didn't expect that Mu Firen would know it was her at once. She had no grudge against her in the past. How could it be? "I have no grudge against you. You must be mistaken, Sister Firen." Mu Firen said, "I'm not mistaken. Don't you know that I'm already toxic in the box office? I didn't have any business dealings with anyone in the past. Now I'm not a threat to anyone except for this reality show. Rui Shui is very smart and knows that she will stick to me to gain attention. Since she wants to stick to me, she won't do anything to me. You saw that Rui Shui stuck to me and I did well last time. It seems that if she follows me, she will indeed gain more attention and attention. Rui Shui is your competitor and you have to be ranked here. Although you don't think I'm competitive, you don't want Rui Shui to stand in front of you and become the topic of the reality show, right? So, of course, you'll do something to me." Rui Shui suddenly came to her senses. I see. Tianming, you're wrong. When we came here, we said that we were here to have fun. Since you care so much about it, I can give you this position. I think I can learn a lot from Sister Firen. That's why I like to be with Sister Firen so much. If you want to learn, you can also come." Rui Shui saw that Mu Firen was so smart that she could see through everything at once. She had a high EQ. She hurried to Mu Firen's side. She had a feeling that Zhang Tianming wouldn't be able to defeat Mu Firen, who was so smart. Mu Firen looked at Rui Shui with a smile. "Rui Shui, you made the right choice. If you follow me, even if I have a scandal, the two of us will be much more important than her. You want to be the center of attention, right? If we go together, she won't be able to compete with you." "You." Zhang Tianming didn't expect that Mu Firen would be so direct. Rui Shui said, Yes. Thank you for your advice, Sister Firen." The film crew was stunned before they started filming. What was going on? Mu Firen openly tore Zhang Tianming apart. However, after hearing what she said, everyone felt that Mu Firen was right. This Zhang Tianming was so scheming just to snatch a spot. Mu Firen said to the film crew, "Okay, let's start filming." "You didn't get in just now, did you? I think that our show is quite a harmonious show. It's better if we don't fight with each other. Now that the higher-ups are cracking down on us, it's too ugly. It won't be good for us to be taken off the air. So let's just pretend that what happened just now didn't happen. Otherwise, since everyone has signed a contract with this show, everyone has to take responsibility, right?" "Yes, yes. Sister Firen is so understanding." Zhang Tianming was furious. However, most people felt that what Mu Firen said made sense. Moreover, this show was really about profits. Everyone wanted to become famous with the show and didn't want the show to be ruined. Therefore, Zhang Tianming could only bear with it. Otherwise, his hard work would be in vain. The filming continued. Although the production crew said that they would give Mu Firen less screen time at the beginning, they couldn't give her too little screen time because Rui Shui was with her. Therefore, it was still Mu Firen and Rui Shui who stood out this time. Mu Firen's manager couldn't help but admire them. She killed 2 birds with 1 stone. First, she got Rui Shui to protect herself from the incident. Second, she made Zhang Tianming feel awkward for the whole episode. He had to think about what he wanted to do when he went back. Since Mu Firen already knew about it, it wouldn't be good for her if the fight was too obvious. Especially since she got Rui Shui to know that Zhang Tianming was her enemy and his target was her, Rui Shui would definitely stick close to Mu Firen. It was a win-win situation for both of them. Chapter 1577. However, although this rumor was not spread openly, it was spread widely in the form of a story. Both old and new netizens knew about it. Mu Firen's manager sighed. "What should we do? These people are really too much. It's already an old story and they're still dragging it out." Everyone felt that it was difficult to respond to this. In the past, there had been similar rumors about a celebrity being kept as a mistress by a big boss. She had even been stuffed with golf balls and was sent to the hospital. After that, everyone thought of golf when they saw that celebrity. This really made people feel speechless. However, she couldn't respond to it. From then on, her image was ruined. She had changed from a goddess to a senior who made people sigh at the mention of her name. Although they acknowledged her beauty, they felt that she was a bad mistress who worshipped money and was promiscuous. Mu Firen said calmly, "Calm down. Take your time." After the shoot, she went home. When she got home, sitting on the sofa, Black Hawk was giving orders. "Remember to inform all the brothers what we have to do tonight." "Got it." The man immediately said, "Watch sister-in-law's TV." "Okay." Mu Firen felt that. She looked at Black Hawk and said, "You don't have to do this." Black Hawk said, "I can't buy data for you. You won't want this data anyway. Just let them take a look at it. It's real." "Okay," Mu Firen said, "I'm tired. I'm going to lie down. Do you want something to eat? I'll make it for you." "You want noodles? Then I'll make noodles for you." Why did that sound? Before Black Hawk realized it, he had already put on his apron and went to the kitchen. Mu Firen, on the other hand, stood there and looked at him. The more she thought about it, the more interesting it became. After a while, he made the noodles. He brought it to Mu Firen and said, "Try it." Mu Firen immediately picked up her chopsticks and took 2 bites. It tasted good. She looked at him with a smile. "The noodles are not bad." "Of course. My noodles are top-notch. Think about how many years I've been doing this. Mu-Firin snorted. Black Hawk looked at her. It's good, right? Eat more. I'll leave it for you. Aren't you eating? I'm losing weight. Mu-Firin didn't believe him. He just didn't cook much and wanted her to eat more. I'm also on a diet. Come and eat some. Otherwise, if I'm too fat, no one will ask me to act in TV dramas. I'm an artist, I have to take care of my figure. Who dares? Black Hawk snorted. She pushed it in front of him. Want to eat? Want to eat? Hey Ing took a look and picked up his chopsticks. Seeing that it was the same bowl as her, he smiled and started eating. He was like a little boy who had just been enlightened. Because when she shared the same cup with her crush, she could secretly laugh for a long time. Black Hawk had never been in a relationship. That was true. In the past, there were many women. People in the underworld were all like that. If they didn't have a woman by their side, they would be embarrassed. However, he had never really fallen in love with anyone. Speaking of which, it was really regrettable. Perhaps the past was all for the sake of meeting her. He was also very glad that he had met her at a good time. If it was in the past, he really wouldn't have had the mood to fall in love. Thinking back to the time when he was working at the car wash, he was already halfway into the underworld. When he had nothing to do, he would get into a fight every few days. In the beginning, he was easily beaten up, but later on, it was others who got beaten up. When he was 16, his life changed again. At that time, the #1 man in Country A was unwilling to pay for a meal. At that time, he was working as a security guard at the restaurant. When he heard about this, he came out to ask what was going on. There were many people in the restaurant at that time. At that time, Black Hawk, or Mo Jinyen, was not called Black Hawk, but Brother Hay. When they saw Black Hawk, the group of people made way for him. Brother Hay, look, it's them. Black Hawk pushed them away and walked over. What's going on? The few of them looked at Black Hawk. Who are you? There were 6 or 7 people at the table, each more arrogant than the other. They sat there and looked at Black Hawk, as if they were not the least bit interested. Black Hawk said, Brothers, you have to pay for a meal, don't you know that? Ha! One of the bald men stood up and slammed the table. You're really talking to the #1 man. At that time, Black Hawk did not know who the #1 man was. He looked at that person and said, even if the emperor comes here, he has to pay for a meal. Of course, unless he's a beggar. If he's a beggar, I'll give him a bite and he won't have to pay. Hey, who the fuck are you calling a beggar? Brother Hay, look, isn't he talking about us? The #1 man raised his eyebrows and looked at Black Hawk. So you're saying that I'm worse than a beggar here? Black Hawk harumphed. Below, a cup was thrown directly at Black Hawk. Black Hawk was used to it and dodged it. He held the person down and pushed him onto the table. A few people came up together. Black Hawk's side also had 3 people. The other 2 weren't very good, but Black Hawk was not afraid of taking care of these people. Seeing the panic, the people around them hurriedly moved away. The people in front were still being arrogant, but the people behind them felt that something was wrong. When the few of them were completely beaten up by the Black Hawk, they could not help but cry out in pain. Who is this person? You don't know, this is Brother Black. He's famous here. When the #1 man saw this, his eyes moved and he immediately left. Seeing this panic, the people were still admiring and praising Black Hawk. As expected of Black Hawk, he was really amazing. Just then, they saw a group of people suddenly rushing in from outside. They were holding baseball bats and knives, and they directly smashed into the place. In an instant, there were more than 10 people. Only then did the people behind them panic. "Ah, what's going on?" You don't know, that's the #1 man just now. He's famous in country, eh? Your brother Black beat up his people. Isn't he asking for death?" Black Hawk did not expect so many people to suddenly appear. Moreover, they were surrounding the place. They had no chance to resist. The Baldy who was beaten up by him just now directly kicked Black Eagle to the ground. "Hey, weren't you very good just now? Now come on, hit me." One fist after another, he smashed Black Eagle's head. Black Eagle's nose was bleeding, and his white t-shirt was dyed bright red. Black Hawk did not make a sound. He knew that he could only be beaten up today. He could not beat them. The Baldy threw him to the ground. Then, the #1 man walked out slowly from behind. "Kid." He stepped on Black Hawk's head and looked at him. "You're still young, you don't know. You can't be a hero just because you're good at fighting, understand?" Chapter 1578. Hae-Ing looked up. Brother One looked at him and said, "You're still too young to come here to play. Remember whose territory this is next time." In the end, the few of them beat up Hae-Ing and even spat on his face. Only then did they leave. Everyone looked at Hae-Ing and helped him up after a long while. Hae-Ing narrowed his eyes as he watched them leave. For the first time, he felt that he wouldn't be able to take revenge if this went on. Brother One was despicable, but he had taught him a lesson. It was not enough to just fight. A person's most lethal weapon wasn't their fists. It was their brains. After that, Hae-Ing recovered from his injuries and sent people to ask about Brother One's business. Brother One was involved in a shady business. He was very influential. In Country A, he was known as a vicious and ruthless person. He lived in a villa worth tens of millions and drove a luxurious car. He had hundreds of subordinates helping him build his empire. However, he also had a lot of enemies, and had offended a lot of people. After a sauna, he was waiting at the entrance with his men. In an instant, more than 10 of his enemies chased after him. Brother One couldn't avoid them and a few of them were beaten to the ground. He wanted to run but the people behind him refused to let him go. He saw the long knife in front of him and thought that he was going to die here. Who would have thought that at this moment? A person suddenly stood in front of him. He blocked the long knife and stood there. He kicked away the person who was attacking him. Then, he pulled out the long knife and slashed at the person who was attacking him. Brother One's men chased after him and so did the other party. Brother One shouted, "How dare you touch me? If I don't die today, you'll all be dead tomorrow." The few of them saw that they didn't have a chance anymore and ran away with their tails between their legs. Brother One lowered his head and looked at the young man who was lying in a pool of blood. His eyes widened. "Hey, isn't this the person who beat us up at the restaurant? I remember that they called him Brother Hae." The person who had fallen was Hae-Ing. Hae-Ing was brought to the hospital by a few people. He had only been stabbed in the stomach. The doctor stitched up his stomach and sighed as he looked at him. "Look at what you've done to yourself." Black Hawk coughed and looked down. He thought to himself that he had survived today. In the future, he would also have to work hard to survive. At this moment, Brother One arrived. He quickly got up. Brother One said, "Why did you save me?" Black Hawk propped himself up and looked at him. "That day, Brother Yi's words made me suddenly see the light. It also made me understand that there are people like Brother Yi in this world. I feel that I really admire Brother Yi, so when I saw Brother Yi almost get into trouble, I couldn't help but go over." Brother One pressed his shoulder. "All right, you've saved me this time. I won't mistreat you." Black Eagle looked at him, his eyes shining with a smile. However, only he knew in his heart. He was the one who gave them the position of first brother. He followed until the very end, and when he saw that the first brother was about to die, he rushed over. This was a method of survival in a hopeless situation. It was a huge gamble. But, obviously, he won. The broadcast of Mu-Firen's show really created a different feeling for everyone. Everyone's impression of Mu-Firen was too absolute. They had always felt that Mu-Firen was a celebrity with top-notch acting skills. She was a big shot and a senior. However, unexpectedly, Mu-Firen's performance on the show was very realistic. She was very strong and independent. She could think of ways to do anything. She protected Rui Shui, set up a tent with Rui Shui, went out to borrow money and things, shoveled the ground, and sold vegetables. It was very refreshing. I didn't expect Mu-Firen to be so warm. I can't tell that Mu-Firen is a cuckold. I think Mu-Firen is quite independent in real life. She's very good, especially like a modern urban woman. Mu-Firen really looks like a mother. I can see that she has been taking good care of her children. Those children are very obedient to her, so I don't think she should take the blame for the previous incident. It's not easy to take care of a child alone. No matter whose child it is, she is a good mother. Seeing that, Rui Shui also became the target of discussion. For a moment, she felt that it was right to follow Mu-Firen. Zhang Tianming was calm and didn't have any discussion at all. She was much luckier when she followed Mu-Firen. No wonder Zhang Tianming wanted to mess with them. At this time, taking advantage of this opportunity, someone began to send scripts to Mu-Firen. However, the agent was stunned when he saw the scripts. Why did they send us scripts for supporting roles? What do they mean? When did our Firen take on supporting roles? No way. What do they mean? Yes, they are so vicious. Hearing their shouts, Mu-Firen said to them, "Well, you haven't read the scripts. Why are you talking about it? Show me the scripts." They looked at Mu-Firen. "Sister Firen. It's just a script for a supporting role. Forget it." Mu-Firen said, "Isn't this a sign of respect? Moreover, the script for a supporting role was sent to me, which means that the director really thinks that this role is suitable for me. Then I'd better see what it is." Mu-Firen took the script and looked at it. It was indeed a script for a supporting role. Moreover, it was a villain. This woman was vicious and greedy. She would use everything that was useful to her and discard everything that was useless to her like a pawn. At the end of the script, she naturally died a horrible death. She was the final boss and was severely beaten up. At the beginning, she couldn't tell whether it was good or bad, but she secretly planned everything. Later, everyone knew that she was the final boss. From God's perspective, the audience could see that she was doing bad things in front of the main character, but at the same time, she behaved well in front of the main character. Therefore, it was easy for her to attract hatred. The agent said, "This is too bad. It will affect the image of the main character." Mu-Firen said, "I think it's good. Since I've been a failure as the main character, why don't I play a supporting role? Maybe it'll be better. Which company sent this role to me? Let's talk to the director first." "Ah. Sister Firen. You can't be serious. Do I look like I'm joking?" Okay. Since you said so, I'll contact the company right away." The company was a new company, but the director was a good director. He had produced many plays in the past and had also shot several famous films and TV series. However, he hadn't appeared in the industry for a long time. Mu-Firen was very interested, so she asked someone to contact the director. Chapter 1579. When the director heard that Mu-Firen was contacting him, he immediately said that they could meet for a meeting. In fact, most of the deals in the film and television industry were negotiated at the dinner table. The few of them made an appointment to meet each other for a meal. They wanted to get to know each other before discussing. That night, Mu Firen entered the room in her casual clothes. When she saw the director, she greeted him with a smile. "Hello everyone, you're early." "I'm a little late." No, we're early. Please have a seat." The few of them stood up to welcome Mu Firen. Director Kiran looked at Mu Firen and said, "I didn't expect Sister Firen to be interested in the script." Mu Firen replied, "Yeah, I've never acted in such a bad role before, so I wanted to give it a try." "Wow, this role is very special. We think she is a beautiful woman, strong, independent and opinionated." "Firen, I can see that you are a strong and opinionated woman in real life, but we are worried that we might not be able to pay you a lot, because there are too many costumes and props, so we can't afford to pay you a lot." Mu Firen smiled and looked at him. "Director Chin, other people will talk about the remuneration at the end, but you're really honest. You're talking about the investment first." Kiran laughed and said, "We know, Firen. It's useless for me to brag about your identity." Mu Firen looked at them and said, "Let me think about it. I'll look at the script and the rest of the cast." "Alright, the cast is full of talent. I'm sure you'll like it." Mu Firen didn't say everything, but she felt that they were quite sincere. Before leaving, Kiran shook hands with Mu Firen. "Actually, I'm already very happy that you came. After all, with your social status, it's normal for you to look down on us. I'm just surprised that you came to have dinner with us." Mu Firen smiled and said, "Now I know that it's necessary for me to change my identity. No one can be an idol forever. The most important thing is to find a path that suits me. Alright, I hope we can work together in the future." "Okay." After they parted ways, the manager looked at Mu Firen with pity. They were outstanding. She was clearly the Empress of Heaven, but now she had to lower herself again and again. It wasn't that they were pretentious, but in this industry, there were plenty of heavenly kings and queens who couldn't lower their statuses. The more he saw, the more he felt that they were brilliant. They were truly hardworking and advancing forward. But how did it become a box office poison? The Black Hawk was still exercising at home. The people at the side looked at Black Eagle, standing there one by one. Looking at the Black Hawk standing upside down, his whole body leaning against the wall. "Boss, what do you think now?" Black Hawk frowned. He flipped over and got down from the wall before grabbing the thing in his hand. Black Hawk's expression was solemn. "How long has it been?" "It's been a while, but Country A has been hiding it. Now that they suddenly released the news, I don't know if they're already prepared to lure Big Brother over. We're worried that Big Brother will be in danger, so we're a little hesitant after receiving the notice." At this moment, Mu Firen came in. He saw a few people standing in the room. Although she was used to seeing people here, this was the first time she saw them with such a terrible expression on their faces. She stood there in a daze, staring blankly at them. Did something happen? They quickly said, "Sister-in-law, hurry up and persuade Big Brother not to go to Country A." Mu Firen looked at the Black Hawk in surprise. Why would he go to Country A? "Alright, shut up, you guys. Get out." They still wanted to say something, but seeing that the Black Hawk wouldn't let them, they could only look at Mu Firen sullenly, shut their mouths, and walk out. As they walked, they secretly winked at Mu Firen. Seeing that the door was closed, Mu Firen turned around and asked the Black Hawk, "What's going on? What happened?" The Black Hawk turned around and pulled off his sweaty shirt. "Nothing." "Then why did you go to Country A?" "One of Big Brother's passed away. I'm going to pay my respects." "Then, why do they look like that?" Mu-Fearin grabbed the Black Hawk and asked with concern. The Black Hawk grabbed the water and took a sip, saying, "Nothing, if you don't tell me, I won't let you go." He turned around and looked at Mu-Fearin speechlessly. Mu-Fearin looked dissatisfied. The Black Hawk sighed. "It's nothing. However, although there's no conflict, there are many people who hate me over there. They are worried that someone will harm me when I show up." Ah, Mu-Fearin was shocked. "Will it be dangerous?" "It's not that dangerous. It's their imagination that ran wild first." "Impossible. I won't allow you to go." "No." Mu-Fearin grabbed him and refused to let him go. The Black Hawk was helpless. After coaxing her for a long time, she finally felt better. She said, "Is that your big brother over there?" "Not really." "Then why do you want to go?" "It's just a notice. I'm familiar with him. If I don't go, it'll seem disrespectful. In our line of work, we value respect for the elders and the big brother." Mu-Fearin still felt unhappy. "Then you're very familiar with him?" "Sort of. Someone who helped you in the past?" "Yeah, someone who hurt me in the past. Fortunately, he's always early. Otherwise, he should be the one who ended his life." The Black Hawk said, "Back then, when I was over there, in a country, he was under the command of the first brother." "What kind of person was the first brother?" "The first brother was a very complicated person. His treatment of Black Hawk could be considered good. Black Hawk gave him everything and would bring him wherever he wanted. However, when he was vicious and angry, he would never care who you were." The Black Hawk followed him into the field. He brought the Black Hawk not because the Black Hawk had saved him, but because he knew that the Black Hawk was good at fighting. He brought the Black Hawk with him to use as a shield. But it didn't matter. The Black Hawk had learned a lot from him. When he hit the Black Hawk's head with an ashtray, he said to him, "Brother, do you know that we're in a business where our heads are tied to our waistbands? So tell me, why don't I treat you well? Is it useful to be nice to you? If I'm too nice to you, you'll be careless and lose your life. Little Black, look at these people. They seem to be respectful to me, but in fact, none of them don't want to kill me. So I can't tell them all my secrets. I have to hide something so that they will be afraid of me, right?" The Black Hawk knew that he had his own set of rules to survive for so many years. Chapter 1580. When he went out, he kicked Black Eagle away. "Look at yourself. How dare you follow me?" Black Eagle still had to respectfully say, "Brother E, I'm sorry." During Brother Yi's birthday banquet, he had to kneel and say, "Thank you for your guidance, Brother E." When he had been working for Brother E for 2 years, Brother E was suddenly being hunted. While they were eating, someone suddenly shot at them from behind. Black Eagle felt it quickly and pushed Brother E away. When the two of them fell to the ground, Brother E didn't realize what had happened. He kicked Black Eagle away and said, "Where the fuck are you going?" When he got up, he saw that the window had been shot through. Only then did Brother E realize what had happened. So it was an assassination. His face turned green and he quickly shouted, "What are you looking at? Cover me and get me out of here." Brother E naturally wouldn't apologize to Black Eagle just because he had misunderstood him. He also wouldn't thank Black Eagle for saving him. Instead, he hurriedly asked his men to protect him. He felt that these were things that a follower of Black Eagle should do. Blocking a knife for him, protecting him, making him angry, these were all things that he should do. Black Eagle didn't have any complaints on his face. He didn't even look unhappy. He hurriedly escorted Black Eagle away and followed Black Eagle's instructions to find the assassin. The assassin was on the opposite building. He couldn't have run far. Black Eagle led Brother Yi's men and chased after him. At one glance, they could see that the assassin was a teenage boy. He was holding a gun and running around randomly. Black Eagle immediately ordered his men to chase after him. Stop him. Yes. Everyone chased after him. Black Eagle followed them. But the boy ran quite fast. In an instant, he was out of sight. Black Eagle ordered his men to split up to look for him. He walked in the alley, looking for him. It was dark and he couldn't see anything clearly. He didn't see anyone at first. But then, he suddenly heard a sound from below. It sounded like he had hit something. He turned his head, picked up the gun in his hand, and loaded it. Who's there? The boy shivered and raised his hand. Just beat me to death. He was indeed still a boy, skinny as a match, with a greenish face. Black Hawk narrowed his eyes and looked at him. For a moment, he suddenly thought of how he looked when he first arrived on the street. That despair was exactly the same as the young man before him. However, at that time, Black Hawk was even smaller than him. Black Hawk asked, "Why did you come here to kill?" The boy said, "My mother is dying. If I don't take this job, I won't have the money to treat her." The gun in his hand slowly loosened. He looked behind him and thought for a moment. When he heard someone coming, he walked out. "Brother Hey, I can't find him. There's nothing inside either. Let's continue searching over there." Yes. An hour later. The Black Hawk had returned. Sure enough, the boy was no longer hiding, but after a while, the boy suddenly jumped out. "Brother Black. You saved me. My life is yours. I'll follow you." Black Hawk looked at the young man and suddenly had an idea. He said, "Who hired you?" "I don't know him. He's a big man, tall and strong." Black Hawk said, "Is his place filled with assassins?" "No, he hired me because he saw that I wanted money." Black Hawk nodded in understanding. "Here's the money. Don't do this job anymore." He gave him a stack of money and said, "Help me do something else." "Ah. Do what?" the young man asked curiously. Black Hawk said, "It's also to kill people," but, later, Black Hawk's name spread throughout the world as the #1 assassin organization. The assassin organization codenamed Black Hawk was extremely powerful. It was at this time that he had the idea of forming such a team. His assassin organization had a special characteristic, which was that it had a high success rate. Why? Because he was specifically looking for those who were willing to risk their lives. He said that if they succeeded, he would give you money. If you died, he would give money to your family. These people either needed money to escape or had no hope of living. They were prepared to give up on themselves and leave some money for their family. Slowly, the organization became stronger, and its reputation spread far and wide. At that time, Black Hawk didn't think about the future. He got people to do it secretly while he secretly took care of it himself. On the surface, he was still a small follower of First Brother. First Brother was still the same. He would hit and scold him whenever he wanted. However, every night, he would take care of his organization, take orders, look for people, and plan. That day, First Brother said strangely, "What's going on? I didn't even know that there's an organization that has been quietly formed recently." Everyone asked curiously, "First Brother, what organization is it?" He said, "It's just a small organization. It's not very useful. They only do things like killing and robbing." Black Hawk curled his lips and didn't say anything. Small organization. He knew that his organization was slowly expanding. Now, he had started to hire more people to help him manage it. That was the beginning of his fortune. However, it was still a gloomy path. It wasn't just big. After all, he was born with a grudge on his back. He was born to kill. Perhaps this was fate. Mu Firen went home and thought about it for a while. The more she read, the more she liked it. She felt that it wasn't a big deal whether she was a villain or not. The main point was that she liked it. Moreover, if the script was done well, it might be a turning point for her. The next day, she asked someone to call the other party and tell him that she had decided to participate. The other party was overjoyed. It would be a good gimmick to have Mu Firen as the villain. Moreover, after taking a look at Mu Firen, there was no one else who was more suitable for this role than Mu Firen. Soon, Mu Firen was busy again. On one hand, she had to shoot a reality show, and on the other hand, she had to organize the TV series that she had just taken on. Unknowingly, rumors had started to spread that Mu Firen couldn't make it anymore. She had started to take on supporting roles. They didn't understand. Which TV series nowadays only had one main character and the rest were all supporting roles? Nowadays, TV series depended on how many characters there were. A real main character might not necessarily have such a big halo. It could be seen from the increasing number of supporting roles that people liked more than the main character. However, the netizens felt that Mu Firen couldn't make it anymore. After taking on supporting roles, would she always be a supporting role in the future? Some netizens even started to write long comments about the fall of the Heavenly Queen. Chapter 1581. Mu Firen also felt some pressure. However, she understood that if she didn't step out, it would be useless to say anything. During filming, she was very tired and easily lost her temper. Especially when she was on set, for many reasons, she was too immersed in her role and was still in a bad mood when she went home. The house was a mess. Fortunately, Hae-ing helped to take care of the children, so she didn't have to worry about them. However, when she was resting, she saw Hae-ing playing with the children and didn't need her. She sighed and looked at Hae-ing. "Do I look hateful now?" Hae-ing laughed. "If you are hateful, then there are no good people in the world." Hearing his words, Mu Firen burst into laughter. She knew that Hae-ing had been very humble and tolerant of her. He wasn't an ordinary person, but he was better than ordinary people in this aspect. Hae-ing had never thought that he would become the fearsome Hae-ing because of an assassin organization. In the beginning, he was just a pawn by Boss Yi's side. Everyone knew that Hae-ing's organization was frightening. But no one knew who Hae-ing was. Until one day, Hae-ing received a new order. His men immediately gave him the order. "Boss, this is the person who wants us to kill Boss Yi." Hae-ing looked at the order and said, "Boss Yi isn't easy to kill." "Yes, it's not that Boss Yi isn't easy to kill. If we kill him, the power behind him will not let us go. It will be troublesome." Over the years, as he grew, Boss Yi's power expanded. Currently, there were not many people in Country A who dared to go against him. His business was getting bigger and bigger, and he had offended more and more people, but no one dared to do anything to him. Because if he died, his men would not let go of the person who killed him. Because he had made a will that, after his death, whoever could get rid of him who had killed him would have all his property. Everyone wanted to kill him, but at the same time, they also felt a little worried. Hae-ing looked at the order. "Okay, I'll think about it. Then this list, keep it. Just say that there's nothing I, Black Hawk, can't do. However, I need to consider whether or not this is worth it." At night, Black Hawk continued to work in front of First Brother. The First Brother laughed out loud. He looked ahead and said, "Did you see that? Someone actually said that he found an assassin organization to kill me. Ha ha ha, what kind of bullshit organization is this?" Black Eagle looked at him. First brother doesn't have to worry about anyone now. That's right. Whoever dares to kill me should first see if they can walk out of a country alive. Black Hawk smiled. Brother E had been treating him better and better recently, and he trusted him more and more. He looked at Black Hawk. Black Hawk, tell me, do you want to make a fortune? Yes. Yeah, there's no one who doesn't want to earn big money. I know you've always wanted to, but I don't dare to let you touch it. If you touch it, you won't be able to take it off. Black Hawk smiled. Brother E is talking about that business. Yeah, you're very smart. You've never asked me or tried to find out. You're very obedient and I like that. I know you don't have such thoughts, so you're someone I can use. Come with me tonight. The reason why Brother E was still so strong was because he had always been very careful. If he was caught, he would be sentenced to death. Normally, he wouldn't ask someone else to do it for him. Basically, he would do everything himself. But today, it seemed like he really trusted Black Hawk. Black Hawk understood and the people below him understood even more. Their attitude toward the Black Hawk immediately changed. Black Hawk, Brother E is promoting you because he wants you to be his successor. You're going to be rich in the future. Remember to bring us along. Black Hawk smiled and didn't say anything. At night, he followed Brother E into the building. It was his first time here. It was indeed secretive. Most importantly, the location would change every few days. It was hard for people to guess where he would do it next time. The manufacturing laboratory was not small and its production was definitely the best in the country. It would also sell a lot of it abroad. Brother E was being so cautious. It was not without reason. Because if he was caught, he would definitely die. After entering, Brother E looked at him. How is it? This is definitely a treasury. Black Hawk still smiled. Not long after, Black Hawk looked around and felt that the place was indeed very big. Secondly, there were indeed many people. He could tell that the shocking production made Brother E extremely rich. Some people looked at Black Hawk curiously. Brother E brought a newcomer here. Yeah, take care of him in the future. He'll help to collect the goods first. All right. Those people stared at Black Hawk. Just as they were wondering, oh no, Brother E, there's something suspicious outside. It seems like someone is coming. One of them was very vigilant. Upon hearing this, he didn't say anything. Emergency evacuation. I'll leave first. You guys cover me. Same as always. With that, he jumped out of the window and ran out. At the same time, the door of the drug manufacturing facility was instantly breached by the police. Brother E ran away. Behind him, Black Hawk helped him escape. Brother E didn't know how far he ran. Brother E leaned against the wall, panting. Damn it, that damn cop. He actually found this place. Black Hawk looked at him. Over there, seems to have been caught. Brother Yi's face was also pale. However, he saw Black Hawk looking at him expressionlessly. He said, "You're unlucky." "No, I'm very lucky," Black Hawk said. When Brother E heard this, he felt that something was wrong. Gradually, Brother Yi's face showed a hint of fear. He retreated step by step. You're a cop." Black Hawk smiled. "No, I'm not." Then Black Hawk said, "You'll know when you get down there. I'm the one who's prepared to kill you." What? Brother E thought that something was wrong. At first, he thought that Black Hawk was a spy. If that was the case, he would be speechless. For so many years, he was willing to be beaten up by him. How could he endure it? "I've treated you well." "Black Hawk, what are you trying to do?" At this moment, Black Hawk directly threw a note in front of Brother E. On it was the unique logo of Black Hawk's assassin organization. He said, "Yes, but I'm sorry, someone wants your life." Brother E suddenly understood. "You're an assassin." "Actually, I'm Black Hawk." Black Hawk smiled. Black Hawk. Black Hawk, Brother E finally understood something after being dismayed. "It's you. You're the one who created that organization." "It's actually you, that's right." Chapter 1582. Brother 1 couldn't understand. Why didn't he realize that he had been by his side for so long? How is this possible? How is this possible? Black Eagle smiled. "I have to thank Brother 1. Black Eagle's figure stood there. Brother 1 only felt that he was really tall, big, and imposing. The emotions lingering between his brows weren't something that an ordinary person would have. Black Hawk said, "Over the years, Black Hawk has taught me a lot about how to be a person. I know that in this world, without power and money, there is no way to stand firm. If I want to get these things, people like me can only be like my brother, by fair means or foul." Brother 1's eyes darkened. He thought of how he had treated Black Eagle all these years. And Black Eagle had always been beaten and scolded without retaliating. Only now did he feel that this person was very, very scary. Brother 1 looked at him. "So what do you want now?" Black Eagle said, "What do you think you would do if you were in my position?" Brother 1 was stunned. What would happen, now that they were enemies? What kind of enemy was the safest? A dead one, that was also an enemy who would never seek revenge on him. So, Brother 1 closed his eyes, his hands hanging down. "So you're worried that I'll write my will?" "That's right. If I get caught, all my assets will be confiscated. Then, I'll have no money and others won't chase after you for your assets." "That's right. All right, just kill me. I've long known that you're someone who can achieve great things. Little Black Hawk, you can do it. I've not lived in vain to be able to raise someone like you. I'm willing to die by your hands. I'm willing to admit defeat. You've done the right thing." Black Eagle said, "Thank you. It's the most glorious thing in my life to be able to agree with you." As he said that, he had already raised the gun. Brother 1 closed his eyes tightly. That night, the moon was strangely round. The siren also rang in this city for half the night. The next day, Brother 1 died. His forces were destroyed overnight. The news spread all over the country. At the same time, Black Eagle's organization expanded greatly. They gathered many of Brother 1's forces and took this opportunity to make a name for themselves. Firin soon went to participate in the shooting. However, when she returned home, she saw Black Hawk packing up his things. She walked over. "Where are you going?" Black Hawk looked at her. "I think I should still attend the funeral." The funeral would be held today. He could go and come back on the same day. Firin suddenly remembered. Feeling flustered, she hugged his waist. The Black Hawk paused. Firin looked at him. "What will happen if I don't go?" "Actually, what's the worst that could happen? Tell me." "I'll be criticized." "So you're saying, at most, they'll speak ill of you behind your back?" "That's right. You've started to do serious business. Can you just ignore them?" Firin raised her head. His assassin organization was no longer in operation. With his current power, he didn't need to rely on any unorthodox methods anymore. Black Hawk looked at her. Firin shook her head forcefully. "I don't want to, Black Hawk. I really don't want you to go. I'll be worried to death. Look at me. If something happens to you, what should Yun do? What should I do? Black Hawk was stunned. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. Promise me, however, Black Hawk didn't speak for a long time. Mu Firen became more anxious. She looked at him and shouted, Black Hawk, if you don't go, I'll marry you. Black Hawk was shocked. He pulled her up, held her shoulders, and looked at her as he asked, Are you serious? Mu Firen blushed. Why did he say that? But she really thought so in her heart. As long as he didn't go, he would be safe. She thought that it was okay to marry him. Black Hawk said, Okay, I won't go. He picked her up, threw her on the ground, and spun her around. Mu Firen only stopped when she was dizzy from being spun around by him. You, Black Hawk kissed her on the cheek. Why? You want to go back on your word? No way, I'm telling you. Mu Firen blushed and lowered her head. I just feel that you agreed too quickly. Black Hawk looked at her with a smile. Yes, in this world, is there anything more important than you marrying me? Mu Firen's heart warmed when she heard this. She felt that he was so happy. It was actually not bad to marry him. She turned her head, embarrassed to look at him. Black Hawk walked out of the room and said to the people outside, Okay, brothers, I won't go. Everyone was still in a daze. Why didn't he go? Black Hawk waved his hand. Tell them that your boss is busy getting married and it's inauspicious for him to go. Everyone was stunned. Then, they suddenly understood. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside. Oh my, boss is getting married. We finally have a sister-in-law. Hurry, go and prepare to announce it to the world. Mu Firen, Black Hawk and the others went to prepare for the wedding, so Mu Firen didn't need to do anything. Mu Firen remembered that she had gotten a lot of sponsors for the last wedding and had done so many things. Now that she had calmly become a bride, she really felt that she had married a man with a heart. It turned out that being a bride was such a blissful thing. She didn't need to worry about anything. She only needed to ask for his opinions when she was preparing things. She could film in peace and go home when she was tired. She didn't need to do anything and just lay down to sleep. Finally, the filming of the TV series was done and the wedding was ready. Black Hawk smiled and brought her the wedding dress that had just been sewn. Mu Firen said quickly, Why did you bring it back? Black Hawk said, I want to see you wear it. Mu Firen smiled and said, You should know that it's inauspicious. Black Hawk said, Why is it inauspicious? Before the wedding, the groom can't touch the wedding dress. Otherwise, it's not good for the marriage. Black Hawk frowned and picked up the wedding dress to go out. Hey, what are you doing? Mu Firen was shocked. I'm getting someone to make another one. Mu Firen didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she pulled Black Hawk back. I was just joking. She pulled Black Hawk back and hugged him. Silly, marriage isn't that simple. You can't touch the wedding dress, silly. Chapter 1583. He had spent so much effort to marry her. Of course, he cared too much about everything. Mu Firen knew that too. Looking at his childish behavior, she smiled even more. Soon, the filming of the TV series was completed. The wedding was in full swing. Everyone's expectant eyes were fixed on the wedding. The public didn't know about it because the filming was too intense and she didn't release any information to the public. Everyone just felt that they hadn't seen any news about Mu Firen for a long time. However, there was too much news in and out of the circle, so no one really paid attention to it. Finally, one day, the press conference for the TV series began. Everyone suddenly remembered that Mu Firen had played the antagonist role in the first episode. She was the antagonist of the female lead, but she wasn't the female lead after all. Someone sighed and said, Mu Firen is indeed a has-been. Someone even said, hasn't she been a has-been for a long time? You just realized it. Actually, the press conference didn't cause too much news. Everyone only noticed that Mu Firen was in the show. Soon, the TV series was broadcasted, and everyone was shocked. Mu Firen was extremely evil and complicated in the TV series. She made people love and hate her at the same time, and they couldn't stop watching her. On one hand, they felt that this character was too annoying, but on the other hand, her tragedy made them feel extremely sympathetic. A pitiful person must have a hateful side. A hateful person actually had a pitiful side. In particular, Mu Firen's acting skills were on full display in the TV series. When she was ruthless, she could make people want to strangle her. When she was sad, she was evil and sad, which made people feel that she was so real. Her twisted performance made people feel as if they were watching a real person in front of them. It was really shocking. Everyone started to support her acting skills. Some people said that they didn't expect Mu Firen to be so good at acting. It seemed that it was wrong to say that she was a box office poison. She was so good at acting, but the script was not good enough. When the TV series reached its climax, some people started to scold her on the bullet screen. They directly said that Mu Firen should go and die. These curses really reflected that her acting skills were really amazing, which made people gnash their teeth with hatred. She didn't care about it at all. From the moment she took the role, she didn't think that it would affect her in any way. However, the reputation was already there. When the TV series finished broadcasting, everyone was shocked. Mu Firen had more fans and discussions than the female lead. Due to its reputation, this TV series broke the record in viewership ratings and became the strongest viewership ratings champion that year. Many nobodies who had never been heard of before became famous because of this, let alone Mu Firen, who had great acting skills. Who said she was past her prime? Who said she couldn't do it? The data showed that she was definitely the hottest celebrity, even more so than the A-listers. Many people analyzed and said, Mu Firen was still Mu Firen, and the Heaven Empress was still the Heaven Empress. It was fine if she didn't make a move, but when she made a move, it was time to show her worth. At this time, Mu Firen's wedding was ready. After the show, Mu Firen had a lot of interviews. During the interview, everyone was also very curious about her future plans. Firen, is there any new TV series? Mu Firen said, no, because I'm still reading the script. Nowadays, there were too many scripts. After she changed her profession, many of them were dramas that required a lot of acting, which made it very difficult for her to watch. So you haven't decided on the next TV series? Yeah, I haven't decided yet, and I don't have time to do it for the time being. Really? Do you have any plans for a TV show? If she didn't have time to do a TV series, wouldn't she be filming a reality show? She smiled. No, I'm getting married and I'm planning the wedding. His words immediately caused everyone to start to be stunned. Getting married? How was that possible? With whom? Her previous wedding was still fresh in their minds, and everyone would mention it from time to time. In the end, it ended tragically, and everyone sighed. After that, there was no news of her getting married. Just when they thought that she would never get married in this lifetime. I will inform everyone when the wedding is held. I won't say much if you're not in the industry. However, when she mentioned it, everyone found out immediately. It didn't take long for someone to find out. Mu Firen's marriage partner turned out to be Mo Jinyan. I heard that he's very rich. Idiot, he's Lin Che's biological brother, of course he's rich. Oh my god, why is it him? I heard that he's super powerful and has many legends about him. I can't believe that after divorcing that jerk, she could find such a good husband. Now that her career is doing so well and her husband is so good, she's so lucky. And so, the wedding was held under the watchful eyes of everyone. On that day, the entire street was filled with people. Because there were so many people, and every one of them had a lot of topics to talk about, all of a sudden, more and more media outlets came to the wedding and crowded the street. Of course, Lin Che, Gu Jingze, Gu Jingming, Gu Jingyu, each of them brought their girlfriends, Liu Beichen and his wife, and all kinds of celebrities. This shocked everyone in the political, business, and entertainment circles. The wedding was grand and huge. He Ying had prepared every detail carefully. At the wedding, everyone saw Mu Firen in a white wedding gown, holding her daughter by her side. That scene was like a pair of angels. He Ying smiled as he stood there and said to Lin Che, "It seems that this scene appeared in my dream many years ago." Lin Che couldn't help but laugh. "Really? How much do you want to marry her?" "Yes, I want to marry her, and I want to have a family. But only a place with her is home." Lin Che turned to look at him. He Ying said calmly, "Come on, Lin Che, help me pick up the bride. Don't forget to call her sister-in-law in the future." "Ha, really?" Lin Che shook his head and followed him. Mu Firen looked at He Ying, and He Ying looked back at her. He picked up the microphone, looked at Mu Firen, and said, "First of all, thank you for coming to our wedding. This time, there is no MC, because this is my wedding. I only hope that you will see me, Firen, and Yun," he said softly. This was the first time that this iron-willed man had shown such a gentle side to him. He was so careful, as if he was afraid of scaring his bride. "It was an accident that I met her, but I believe that all accidents are fated. The fact that we met was already fated. She is the woman of my life. She and Yun are the two women that I can't let go of in my life. I believe that no amount of words can describe the gratitude I feel at this moment. Thank you for accompanying me to this day. Thank you for helping me, watching over me, marrying her, and thank you for her." He reached out his hand to Mu Firen. "Thank you, Firen. Thank you for believing in me." Mu Firen sneered, but her eyes were already filled with tears. "No, I also want to thank you. Thank you for loving me." He Ying hugged her tightly. On the other side, Yun said unhappily, "What about me? What about me?" Mu Firen lowered her head with a smile and picked up Yun. However, Black Hawk took Yun and let her sit on his shoulder. That strong arm allowed her to be safe and sound. He said softly, "What about you? Are you going to call me Daddy now?" Yun had been He Ying's fan for a long time. At this moment, she couldn't help hugging him and said eagerly, "Daddy." The family of three, finally, truly together. Lin Che felt comforted as he looked at them. Gu Jingze hugged her shoulder quietly. "Silly girl, why are you crying?" "Honey." "Yes. I just feel that He Ying finally said something that I like." "What?" "All accidents are predestined." She looked at him. "So, we can meet. Everything is predestined. If I didn't meet you, where would I be now? All accidents are predestined. You and I are also predestined. I cherish every one of you that I meet. At the same time, I hope that my glass heart doesn't keep in touch with you because I'm such a timid guy who doesn't dare to face any dark consequences. However, with you guys around, I will support my glass heart and write one book after another. Thank you, everyone. The new book is being serialized. See you in the next book. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.